You know what I want for Christmas? I want the truth for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Just I want universal truth and understanding, and just keeping it realism. Uh, I don't know. Actually, to be honest, listen. Imagine if everyone had to keep it real, and they're just everything was out in the open all at the same time. Like everyone, it'd be like everyone would just be sitting there with big eyes. You know what I'm saying? And trying to look for somewhere to hide. Uh, basically. So I mean, that's at the same time that's a very scary prospect because it would look a lot like chaos if everyone was to see the truth all at the same time. It would be so weird. I mean, but equally, it'd be also crazy if you seen everyone trapped up in a lie at the same time. And in all actuality, every day of your life, everything you have ever seen has been just that. Uh, the latter uh, description there. You'd just be living in something totally artificial and unofficial and off the books and shit, but you're incapable of recognizing it. And then there's other people who kind of know the shit's going on, and they kind of poke at you and throw rotten fruit at you from obscure angles. It's pretty creepy out here. It's like that. Back in the day, people used to love public executions. They'd all hang out around the hangings and really grotesque things they used to do in medieval Europe, like pull people apart with horses, and I mean they got saw people in half. Uh, you know, throw people in the water with stones in their pockets. Uh, I mean, and that's the thug life. Like I said, I am not an advocate of the thug life. I think the thug life sucks, and at all costs, it should be avoided for if possible. Because once you start partaking of the thug life, it you kind of justify the use of the thug life in the first place. So I'm not I don't know, man. I always believe like there's always you should always seek the positive, the answer that's gonna get the most positive result, even if it's more difficult than the force by force solution. That's really truly what I advocate. This is what all this talking and speculation and attempts to get people's attention about certain things about that if everyone was to see the truth all at the same time, it would be crazy. uh, but and then at the same time, you see a whole matrix of lies that are just accepted as truth on a regular basis, and it's I mean that's another that's a form of the thug life. That's what you call re-educationing. That's when you force your lies upon someone else and make them believe them. I mean, institutionally, that is another form of the thug life. That's the thug life over your mental. That's the psychological thug life. That's called the brainwashing aspect of thug life. I mean, a Manchurian candidate, or even just a lost, brainwashed, indoctrinated uh, extremist of any whatever type you would like to visualize stereotypically, because there's so many of them. But I mean, this thug life is really I mean, it's like there's so much thug life. People don't even recognize what the thug life is. And that's where that psychological thug life took in effect on previous generations and other people around us who are just easier to. That pimpery is just, they're very susceptible to the pimpery, especially when you got the pimpery of ancient Babylon and Egypt and Greece and Rome and the Americans and the European monarch oligarchs and all these banker secret society types. I mean, that is just massive, massive data of pimpery mechanisms from the beginning of time. And this is really, they're throwing all of this at us daily, and have been for at least since the TVs and radios came out. So, uh, because before people could all read, man, I mean, they were really limited to, the pimpery was different back then. So, the pimpery now is less, over it's more like psychological control. But, I mean, at the same time, if you make a big enough scene, then get scary enough, you paint a scary enough picture, you're in your mind, you're gonna say, well, I'm deterring crime, because if we just react harshly, it deters crime, and someone in the future will not resist us. That's using force. This is all the same thing. If everyone's seeing the truth, all at the same time, just telling you, it'd be total pandemonium. But yet, uniformly, you've seen your whole life everyone, and they've all believed in the same lies. Well, at least if they didn't all believe in the same exact lie, this lie is so, it's all encompassing. So everyone's believed in different portions of the same lie. And I mean, this is how it works. This is that left and right paradigm. And then you even got the third branch, which is the divergent deviant branch. That, like me, I don't want no association to any political parties. I just say independent, because I don't like the left right paradigm. So I mean, it's just independent. That just means I don't particularly have a denomination. Like, look, if you want to believe or say what kind of church I would be in, it would just be non-denominational, and that just means it's like freelancer. You know what I'm saying? It's like anything that is the real thing. Yeah, I can be associated with it, but then at the same time, don't need no attachments and baggage of traditions of people that just emphasized on that when it wasn't really the most important thing. And I'm like, well, why not bypass some of these traditions, and let's just re-examine where the traditions come from, and then make a reassessment, or because people have really got it. It's out of whack and out of balance, man. Where people can't even tell the difference between up and down, basically, right now. But I mean, it's all designed this way. It's like a circus, man. It's like a carnival almost. It's like the House of Mirrors. They got it like this way for a reason. So it's hard to really understand what you're seeing when you're looking at it. It's all distorted, and it's intentionally deceptive. It's like if you seen someone standing there, but it was the mirror and the guy was really standing over here. You know what I'm saying? That's just how you make things appear as they are, or you make things appear as they aren't, or so as but they are, or something. I don't know, something to that effect. Things ain't as they appear to be, basically. But this is all this has ever been, man. It's just a deception. Just something's been hidden, and it starts way back, man. Just what you're taught about history, and a lot of these things are easily debunkable now. So you can prove how much you've been lied to. Then if you're like, well, if they lied to me about this, and this is most of the shit they're telling me just a lie. And unfortunately, yeah. And ain't no one ever gonna force you to learn otherwise unless you just have you want to know the truth because it's important to you. And a lot of people, it's not really. It's like the truth is only as important as how profitable it is to be the only one telling it. Basically, is how it goes right now. And people out there that's willing to spout off, they're a dime a dozen. But everyone's got a little different piece of the big puzzle. So I'm not against that. I'm all for that. But I don't know. Eventually, it seems like the system, it's Willie Lynch to everyone else. So why would not the conspiracy crowd and people like us be any different? Here comes the Willie Lynching. Well, I believe 9/11 was an inside job. Well, I believe I believe it wasn't. I believe it was Obama or it was Osama. I mean, for instance, just little petty indifference or petty can't even think of the word. Petty prejudices, man, stereotypes. Really, it just throws salt and banana peels and monkey wrenches on what's right, man. The truth.